So, good morning, everybody. In today's session, we are going to see the various concepts regarding the arrays, particular to C language. Uh, we are going to start with one example. Like suppose you people are going to sit in the class. Like suppose you are going to enter the class. So that time, it might be possible that some students are going to sit in the first row, few students are going to sit in the last row, and left students are going to accommodate the various benches that are in the center of the class. And suppose I have to ask the question to some students, or I have to get to the students who are at the back benches, or who are at the middle, or who are at the first benches. So that time I have to move from one place to another place, or from one place to some some different places I have to move in the class. But suppose whatever the students are there, they are going to sit with in a sequence of their roll numbers. So that time suppose I have to access, or I have to call, or I have to go to the roll number 5, so that will be easier to me. And suppose the same roll number 5 is sitting at randomly in the class, so that time it is going to be difficult. In the same way, suppose we are going to see the concepts of programming. So that time, until and until whatever the program we have seen, so in that programs we have taken few variables. Like suppose we are going to implement a program to find sum of subjects, and find the average marks of those subjects, or to find a percentage. So suppose you have to find the average of 5 subjects. So that time what you are going to do, you are simply going to you are simply going to write like this one: integer m1 comma m2 comma m3 comma m4 comma m5. Okay, like this means these are your 5 subjects. And after this you have to read the values for the 5 subjects. And after reading the values, you have to find the sum of these 5 subjects. And after finding the sum, you have to find the average of these 5 subjects. Okay, means what you have to do, suppose you have to read the values for the 5 subjects, so that time you have to declare the simple 5 variables. Okay, and what happened after declaring these 5 variables? Your compiler or the operating system is going to find a memory in the RAM, that where the memories are available. Suppose it is available at the start, suppose it is available at the middle, or suppose it is available at the last in the stack. So that time your all variables are dispersed in the memory at the different location. Okay, and suppose I have to read the value at m1, so I have to go at some particular place. Suppose your m3 is at some another location, so operating system has to go to that location. M5 is at some another location, so again operating system has to go. Means whatever these variables are there, they are dispersed in the memory at the different locations. और अगर वो अलग अलग जगह पर जाके बैठे हैं, so that time operating system has to go to that particular location, so that will consume some time. Okay, this is about storing the values. Now I have to fetch those values again. Now I have to do some operation, so I have to fetch those values again. What the operating system has to do, operating system has to go at every different location throughout the stack, and again they are going to fetch that information to do some operation. तो इसमें भी क्या हो रहा है, ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम को फिर से अलग अलग जगह जाना पड़ रहा है, और वहां से उसको डेटा लेके ऑपरेशन के लिए लाना पड़ रहा है. Means in what is happening over what happened over here, as your variables are dispersed at the different locations in the stack, so that time to access the data or to store the data, there is a consumption of more time, or more we can say it will consume more time, we can say simply. So to reduce this time, or to reduce the complexity, there is a concept provided in the C, and that is called as the arrays. So what happened with the arrays? We will first see the basic definition of array. So what is array? Array is a group of same data type. Very simple definition of array, and that could be number of times asked in the examination. Define array. So you can simply write a definition of array. That is what is array. Array is a collection of similar data types of elements. What is array? Array is a group or collection of same data types of elements. Okay. Suppose you are having a integers numbers, like I have given you one example over here, that is integer m1. So all these 5 variables are of same type integer. Okay. It should not be like this one, like first two are of type integer, then another two are of type float, and middle one is a character, and all that you have to store in a single location. What I use the word of same data type. What I use the word of same data type means whatever the elements are there, means that you are going to collaborate or that you are going to collect, that all elements should be of the same data type. Like here m1 to m5 are of the same data type integer. So we can create an array for this. We can create array for this one. Suppose you are having the another example like float s1 comma s2 comma s3 comma s4 comma s5 and number of elements. So all these elements are of a type float. So we can, for this we can create an array of type integer because all the elements are of type int. So that's why here we can create an integer array. All these elements are of a type float. So for this we can create a float array. Here we can create array of integer, and here we can create array of float. Okay, so this is a float array, this is an integer array. How we can create that we will see later. But the thing I want to make you clear that what is array? Array is a collection of same data types. Array is a collection of same data types. Okay, so what was the problem? The problem was that whatever the elements are there, whatever the variables are, they have dispersed in the at the different memory locations. So what we want, they should be memory should be allocated to them contiguously. Contiguously means what? One after another. Again, third one after another, means one after another in this way. Means first you are having a memory for S1, then just after it you are having a memory for the S2, S3, S4, S5. Means we want a contiguous memory allocation. Contiguous means one after another. Means they are just near to each other. In the problem that we are facing, like m1 is at 1000, m2 is at 2000, m3 is at 1050, m4 is at 2500, m5 is at 3000. So all the variables are dispersed. To avoid this, because here there is a more consumption of time while accessing or storing the data. But the solution to this problem is an array. Whenever you are going to make a use of an array, so that time what is going to happen, whatever the elements are there, they are going to stored in a contiguous memory location. So एक के बाद आपको दूसरा मिलेगा, दूसरे के बाद तीसरा मिलेगा. So there is a reduction in the use of the time. Means time complexity will be reduced over here. Okay, and efficiency is going to increase. That is, the programming efficiency is going to increase because there is a less consumption of time. So this is the basic reason that we are going to make a use of an array. Means using the array, we are going to store the elements in a contiguous memory location. So that is the very simple need of array. Okay, so I hope you got the definition of array. Array is the group or collection of similar data types of elements. Means you are having an integer array or you are having a float array. So integer array is going to contain all elements of integer type. Float array, that is going to contain the all elements of the float type. So here the explanation is given over here. Define 100 variables with integer data type and then perform 100 scanf operations to store the entered values in the variables, and then at last calculate the average of them. Means here what you are going to do, you are going to read the 100 integer variables. So you have to perform 100 scanf operations. Means like suppose you are going to make a use of 100 variables, that is m1 to m100, and that time you have to make a scanf 100 times. So again, that is a boredom work. Means who are getting to be bored for writing the scanf 100 times, or for that again we can make a use of for loop. But for loop again, that is not going to work because you have to write like m1, m2, m3, m4, m5 up to m100. Okay, so that is a time consuming task and a boredom task. So to avoid this problem, what we can do, we can use a single element. We can use a single element, but they are going to represent, means we are going to make a use of a single entity, We can make a use of a single entity, but it is going to represent the 100 elements. Like, we can take a very simple example. Suppose we are talking about a train. Okay, so engine is there. Suppose engine is there, means like the train is coming from the forward direction. The train is coming from the opposite direction, and we are not able to see the wagons, but engine is there. Still, what was saying, the train is coming. Can we say like can we say like this one? Engine is coming? No, we are not able to see whether the wagons are just behind to engine or not. But still, we are saying that the train is coming. We can't say that the engine is coming. Okay. In the same way, array is a single entity and it is going to represent a number of elements which are just stored within it. Okay, so this is the better solution to make the use of array to avoid such kind of a problems over there. So now you can read it from here. The second solution, it is convenient to store same data types in one single variable. That is a single entity I told you. With the single variable, you can store the same data type with the number of elements and later access them using the array indexes. Okay, index means what? Like this one is you can call it as an index. This one is you can call it as an index. This is again called as a subscript. You can call it as a subscript. You can call it as a subscript. So how to declare array in C? That is the basic question. So how to declare the array in C? So first is your data type, then your array name, then square brackets, and here you have to write the subscript. Means how many number of elements you want to include in that array. So here there is a number array. अब ये यहाँ पे आप नाम कुछ भी दे सकते हो, but again that should be relevant to your program. That should be a character array, or that should be your name, that should be your percentage, that should be your marks, that should be your enrollment numbers. So you can give the name with respect to your program definition. So here we have taken the very simple example, integer number. It is going to contain the 35 elements. This is the integer array and it is going to contain the 35 elements. This is the character array that is going to contain the 10 characters. This is going to contain 35 integers. This is going to contain 10 characters. Okay, 10 elements. So this is a character array and this is a integer array. And a very simple example, to create array, first you have to write data type, that should be integer, character or float. Okay, and then your array name, and after that square bracket should be there, and in the square bracket you have to give the index, or you can make the use of a subscript there. Okay, so in this way we can declare the array. So just with respect to this above example, that is here, how many elements are there? 5 elements are there. So for this I can create the array over here like this. Integer m in bracket 5, like this one. Suppose float is there, so s in bracket 5. So this is an integer array, this is a float array with respect to our above explanation that we have taken for the various variables. Okay, means that time we have taken the 5 elements, m1, m2, m3, m4, m5. We have written it like this. Now with the help of this single one, you can represent the 5 elements. With the help of this single variable, you can represent the 5 float elements like this. So we can create the array of any type, that should be float, short, double, long, int, whatever is there. We can create an array for that. Okay, so array is very simple. Array is a collection of similar elements, or array is a representation of number of elements. Okay, so I told you subscript, that is again called as an index. So you can use array subscript to access any element stored in the array. Subscript starts with 0. Okay, subscript starts with 0, means like suppose here how many elements you are given? Here we have given the 5 elements, so it is starting from 0. Means how many elements are there? 5 elements. So you can say like this one, m1, m2, m3, m4, m5 in with respect to our knowledge. But suppose you are going to learn a programming with respect to compiler, your index always starts with a 0. Your index always starts with a 0. Yes, 5 elements are there, but your first element could not be M1. That should be M0. Second element should be M1. Third element should be M2, M3, M4. Finish. There should not be M5 because it is starting with the 0. Your index is starting with the 0. Okay. So that's why your first element will be M0. Second element will be M1. M2, M3, and M4. It should not be M5. And that's why your subscript starts with a 0, which means array 0 is representing your first element in the array R. Suppose you are having an array R, the name of an array, that is a R. So who is going to represent your first element? Your first element will be represented by R0 or M0 or S0, like this. Okay, so here we have taken the example integer my data, so that is 20. This is the array of 20 elements. This is the array of 20 elements. Okay, so my data 0, that is going to represent your first number, that is the first element. This is the array of 20 integer elements. This is an integer array which is going to contain, or we have allocated a memory. Like suppose we are having a classroom. So in the classroom there will be the sitting for the 60 students, means like 30 benches are there. And suppose in second year the students are going to reduce and there will be only 40 students. So can we remove the 10 benches from the class? No, because I know that the occupancy of my classroom must be a 60, because the intake of that class is only 60. So there should be the 30 benches in the class. It should not be like this one, like suppose this year I am having only 40 students, so I have to remove the 10 benches. It should not be like that. Means whatever the allocation is required, whatever the size is required, we must be specified, and it depends on us how much we have to use from them. Okay, how much we have to use from them. So this is your first element, that is my data 0. This is your first element, and my data 19 is your last element. Suppose you are having a M10, that is your 11th element. Suppose you are having M8, that is your 9th element. M8 माना 9, माना 1 से हमको बढ़ाना है. अब ये 0 है माना मेरा फर्स्ट एलिमेंट, 19 है मीन्स ये मेरा 20th एलिमेंट. अगर ये 8 होगा सो दैट इज माय 9th एलिमेंट. अगर ये 10th है सो इट मींस दैट माय 11th एलिमेंट. माना इसको 1 से बढ़ाना है. यहाँ पे देखो, माना वेरी सिंपल. एरे 0 है माना फर्स्ट एलिमेंट होगा. एरे 0 माना फर्स्ट एलिमेंट होगा. तो एरे 1 माना मेरा सेकंड एलिमेंट होगा. सेकंड माना थर्ड होगा. थर्ड माना फोर्थ होगा. So that is going to increase by 1. So this is your last 20th element of array my data. Okay, so very simple program. Now we have to take over here, that is the example of array in C programming to find out the average of 4 integers. Like suppose in our normal programming we have to find the average of 4 integers. So what we will do, integer m1, m2, m3, m4. Okay, integer m1, m2, m3, m4. Then using the scanf, we are reading the values ampersand m1, ampersand m2, ampersand m3, ampersand m4. And after that, sum is equals to m1 plus m2 plus m3 plus m4. So we have find the sum. And after finding the sum, we have to find the average. So average is equals to sum divided by 4. So that will give the average. But this is for only the 4 elements, so that should be fine. But suppose I ask you that you have to find the average of 100 elements. So are you going to elaborate, or are you going to declare 100 m1, m2, m3, m4 up to m100? And then are you able to write like ampersand m1, ampersand m2, ampersand m3, ampersand m4 like up to 100? And after that sum is equals to m1 plus m2 plus m3 plus m100? Are we able to do this? No, that is not feasible. So we have to find some feasible solution, and that solution will be available in the form of array like this. Okay, so here we will see one example. So this example you can consider for the 4 integers only, and that we can elaborate, or we can explore it up to 10 elements. Okay, so you know that integer average, so we don't know currently the value of average, so that should be 0. Sum again, that should be 0. Integer x again we have taken, that is 0. We can declare all these three variables in a single line. Integer average equals to 0, comma sum equals to 0, and x equals to 0. Okay, now we have seen how to declare the array. So here there is a simple array declaration. Integer, the type of array is integer, name of array is num, and how many elements are there. As the problem is given, you have to find the average of 4 elements. So these are the 4 elements there. Okay, now how we can read the values for the 4 elements? Again, that is a question, because we have to read the value 4 times, means you have to write the scanf statement 4 times. Okay, so how should be your first element? Your first element should be like this one, num 0. Then how should be your second? Num in bracket 1, then num in bracket 2, then num in bracket 3, then num in bracket, sorry हो गए 4 element. Okay, so your first element will be num0, second num1, third num2, and fourth num3. Suppose we have to read the value, so you can write down like this one: first scanf ampersand num of 0, then ampersand num of 1, then ampersand num of 2, and ampersand num of 3. So it is going to work same like the variables m1, m2, m3, m4. So no changes there, no differentiation is there. We have to reduce the time, we have to increase the programming efficiency. So that time, instead of writing this scanf statement 4 times, we are going to put this scanf statement, inside the for loop, and with the help of that for loop, we are executing that scanf statement 4 times, like we have seen the for loops. And with the help of that for loop in factorial or in power, we are going means for the factorial we have find a general operation, and that general operation we have put in the array. Again in the power, we have find a general operation, and we have put that general operation in the for loop, and that will be iterated for the number of times. Okay, in the same way, now we have to execute this scanf statement 4 times. So instead of writing this scanf statement 4 times, what we are simply doing, we are putting the scanf statement inside the for loop like this. So enter number. So the number you have to enter, okay, that is 0, 1, whatever is there. So we have to execute this for loop 4 times, because how many elements we have to read? We have to read 4 elements. So how is the for loop? X is starting from 0, because our element is starting from 0, and it will go up to 4. So x equals to 0, that is our previous assignment, assigning the variable 0th value. Then we have to take up to 4, so that's why less than, not less than equals to. Suppose you are going to take less than equals to, so that will go up to 5 elements, because 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4, but we have to take up to only 3. So that's why the condition is x less than 4 and x plus plus. Here scanf %d ampersand num of x. So first x is 0, so ampersand num of 0, then in the next iteration x is going to be 1. With the help of this, x is going to be 1, so ampersand num of 1, then again it's going to be 2, ampersand num of 2, then again it's going to be 3, condition will be checked, true, ampersand num of 3, 2, again it is going to be 3, 3 is less than 4, condition true, ampersand num of 3, and once x becomes 4, 4 less than 4, condition become false, it comes here. Okay, so how is the representation? Ampersand num of whatever the index you are taking over here. Here, here we have taken the example as x. We are simply going to make a use of I over here. आगे में हम जितने भी एग्जांपल देखेंगे उन सब में हम I most probably यूज करेंगे. यहाँ पे x दिखाया है. Okay, so basically index is represented by I, so that's why we are going to make a use of I over here. So that is I equals to 0, I less than 4, I plus plus, and ampersand num of I. So this statement we have used for reading the values from the array. अब यहाँ पे क्या हो गया? How is the memory allocation? Let's see how is the memory allocation. Num0 might be allocated. How is the memory allocation? That we will see now. Now num4. So how many elements are there? 4 elements are there. And what is the type of this array? The type of array is integer. So integer is going to allocate 2 bytes of memory. Integer is going to allocate 2 bytes of memory, and here the 4 elements are there. Means this array is going to consume 8 bytes of memory. यहाँ पे कितने एलिमेंट्स है नम में? 4 है, और ये इंटीजर टाइप वाला है, मींस एवरी एलिमेंट ऑफ टाइप इंटीजर. So each element is going to take 2 bytes of memory. So totally this array is going to allocate 8 bytes of memory for it. कितने bytes of memory allocate करेगा ये? 8 bytes का memory allocate करेगा. तो ये कहाँ पे start हो रहा है? Suppose 1000 पे हो रहा है. Okay, means your first element should be at location 1000. Another element should be at 1002. थर्ड एलिमेंट, क्योंकि दो दो का डिफरेंस आएगा ना, 2 बाइट से है तो, और ये कहाँ पे जाएगा? 1004. और ये कहाँ पे जाएगा? 1006. और ये एंड कहाँ पे होगा? 1008 पे जाके एंड हो जाएगा. ये मीन्स नेक्स्ट एलिमेंट कौन से इस पे रहेगा? 1008 पे रहेगा. मीन्स योर फर्स्ट एलिमेंट इज लोकेटेड एट 1000, सेकंड एलिमेंट एट 2, third element at 4, and fourth element at 6. That is going to consume 2 bytes. So 1006 to 1007 and 1007 to 1008. So in this way 8 bytes of memory will get allocated for this array. Suppose you are having the integer array of 25 elements. So that time how much memory it is going to consume? 25 into 2, that is the 50. Okay, suppose instead of this integer we are having a float. So float num4, how much memory it is going to consume? Each element is going to take a 4 bytes. So float is of 4 bytes. So 4 into 4 is 16. Suppose this is a character array and the 10 elements are there. So each character is going to consume 1 byte. So 1 into 10. Character is going to consume 1 byte of memory. So 10 elements are there. So 1 into 10, 10 bytes of memory will get allocated. So in this way, you must be able to find how many memory consumed by the array. So here 8 bytes, here 8 bytes. Suppose instead of this integer you are having a float, so that time 16 bytes. And suppose instead of this integer you are having a character, so that time it is going to consume only 4 bytes of memory. Okay, so in this way, that is a part of memory allocation. So here we are looking for this program. So with the help of this, we have read the values in the array. So at num0, you got some value, might be that is 10. So which value I store here? 10, ampersand num of 0, ampersand num of 1, 20, ampersand num of 3, sorry, num of 2. Here I am going to store 30. You can store any value, at random value, no problem. And here in the num3, ampersand num of 3, it is going to store something like 66, you can see. We're taking like this one because that will be easier to find the average, because 20 plus 10, 30, 30, 30, 60, 40. So that is 100, and 100 by 4 is 25. So the average of this one is 25. Means answer is, before executing any program, first we are going to execute with the simple values for which we know the solution. Okay, and after that we can take the different values. So first part is over, that is reading the array. This part is of reading the array. You are reading the array, reading the elements in the array, you can see that. Okay, here we are going to perform the operation over the array. Operation over elements of array. Okay, so now we are calling again, we are making the use of for loop. I is starting from x is starting from 0 less than 4 x plus plus. Our first element is num of 0. So we are taking one element just after another. Means initially we have given the value of sum at 0. So 0 plus num of 0 is 10. What is the num of 0? 10. Num of 1, 20. Num of 2, 30. And num of 4 is, num of 3 is 40. 0, 10, 1, 20, 2, 30, 3, 40. So one by one it is coming over here. So initially the value of sum is 0. Initially the value of sum is value of sum is 0 plus num of 0 is 10. So that is going to be 10. मीन्स अभी सम की वैल्यू कितनी हो गई 10 हो गई. फिर से आपका x क्या हो गया इंक्रीमेंट हो गया. x is going to be 1. 1 is less than 4, condition true. So 10 plus num of 1, the value of num of 1 is 20. So that is going to be 30 plus फिर से यहाँ पे x का वैल्यू कितना हो गया 2 हो गया. 2 is less than 4, कंडीशन ट्रू है तो यहाँ पे आया. ये कितना हो गया नम ऑफ 2 हो गया. नम ऑफ 2 कितना है आपका 30 है तो ये 60 हो गया. फिर से यहाँ पे x गया. x की वैल्यू कितनी हो गई 3 हो गई. 3 इज लेस देन 4, कंडीशन ट्रू. अंदर आ गया 60 प्लस नम ऑफ 3, तो नम ऑफ 3 की वैल्यू कितनी है 40 है शायद. ये हो गया 100. तो यहाँ पे हमें क्या मिल गया x की वैल्यू 4 मिल गई. 4 इज लेस देन 4, कंडीशन फॉल्स. कंडीशन फॉल्स है तो कहाँ पे आए बाहर आए तो आपको सम की वैल्यू कितनी मिली फाइनली 100 मिली. एंड आफ्टर दैट we are finding an average equals to sum by 4, so that is 25, like this. Number 10, 10, 20, 40. So ये हो गया 80 divided by 4 is 20. So this program is fine because we are finding the average only for the 4 elements. But suppose you are going to find the average of 10 elements, so that time here it will be 10. Okay, here it will be 10, here it will be 10. Okay, so suppose you have to find the average of 4 elements, so simply you can write our simple program integer m1 m2 m3 m4, because that is not tedious. But suppose you are going to find the average of 10 elements, so that time you must have to use array. Otherwise you have to read like this one ampersand m1 m2 m3 m4 m10. Then again this should be like this one m1 plus m2 plus m3 plus up to m10, and after that you can find the average. But with the help of this for loop you can read the array for 10 times. With the help of this for loop you can going on adding every element from the array 10 times, and after that you can simply find the average like this. So this is the use of very simple use of array. Means with the help of array you can represent a number of elements. That should be 10, 4, 25, 100, whatever you have to represent. So this is the beauty of the array. Okay, so this is the very simple example regarding the array. Now the same program is explained over here, that here we are reading the values for the array. Then here suppose you want to display the numbers, so you can display the numbers using this array, like number %d num x. So num x means suppose your initial value of x is 0, so num 0, what is the value of num 0? The value of num 0 is 10. So it is displaying like this one num 0, sorry num 10 आएगा यहाँ पे. %d means like this value. So num 10, num 20, num 30, num 40, it will come like this one. So it depends how you want to display the output over there. So this is about the declaration of the array. Means here we have declared the array integer num of 4, you can say, or like this integer. We have seen the various example integer m of 5, float s of 5. Then here you are having a simple example integer array of 5. So this is, suppose you are going to put the semicolon over here, so this is the declaration of the array. This is the declaration of array. Okay, int array for you. This is called as a declaration and initialization of the array. This is the initialization of an array. Means in the previous case we have read the elements dynamically. Dynamical means during run time. माना यहाँ पे क्या हो गया, जो हमने इसमें रीड की वैल्यू, जो जब हमारा प्रोग्राम रन हो रहा था उसके दौरान हमने इसके लिए वैल्यूज रीड किए, सो दैट इज कॉल्ड द डायनामिक मेमोरी एलोकेशन, सॉरी डायनामिक initialization of the sorry dynamic uh, that is the dynamic memory allocation for the array. You can see means during runtime we are inserting the values in the arrays, but here we are initializing the values to the array. Means when our program is compiled, at the same time the array 0 is having a value 1, array 1 is having a value 2, array 2 is having a value 3, array 4 is having, array 3 is having a value 4, and array 4 is having a value 5. Like this means during compilation the values are available to us, but in the previous case during the program execution we are just inserting the values in the array. So this is sometimes in the exam they will ask you what is the difference between declaration and initialization of the array. So this is the simple example of array declaration, but this is the example of initialization of the array. This is called as declaration. This first part is the declaration, this first part is declaration, and this is the initialization. Or you can do same in the same part. This statement is going to represent means like this is this statement you can say declaration and initialization of the array, and this statement you can say at initialization of the array. Means your above statement is this is declaration part for the same array. Now you are initializing the value, and in the single line you can do the both thing, that is declaration and the initialization of the array. Now you can see here we have not given the subscript, we have not given the index, so compile is automatically going to find out how many elements are there from this initialization. लेकिन ऐसे नहीं है कि आपने यहाँ पे कुछ भी नहीं दिया है, means like you cannot do like this one, you cannot write like this one. Okay, this is invalid because compiler will not able to find how many elements are here. You have to specify the size, because that number of elements, for that number of elements memory will get allocated by the compiler or the operating system. Okay, so that's why this is fine, because here you have initialized the array with the 5 elements, so compiler come to know that 5 elements are there and all elements are of type integer, so it is going to consume the 10 bytes of memory. Okay, 5 elements, so from this it comes to know the size of array is 5, size of array is 5, type of integer, so 10 bytes of memory will get allocated. But here there will be no finding what is the size of array, what are the elements in the array, so that time it is the invalid one. And suppose you are simply going to declare like this one, so each element of the array is going to contain the garbage value, because here we are not going to provide the values. तो यहाँ पे values provide नहीं है, इसका मतलब अभी array में कौन सी value store है, garbage value store है. So here you can read out uninitialized array always contain garbage values. Means for this statement, array 0 is going to contain garbage, array 1, array 2, array 3, array 4, all these 5 elements are going to contain garbage value. But in this case array 0 1, array 1 2, array 2 3, array 3 4, and array 4 5 elements, so here it is going to contain, but this is not the good solution because your program is binded with these values. Okay, but whatever the program we have to implement, that must be a user friendly program. Whatever the program we have to implement, that must be a user friendly program. Okay, so that's why it is always fine to read the values using the scanf statement, not like this one. But for our knowledge we must be able to initialize the array. And suppose somebody is going to ask you that how you can declare or initialize the array, so that time you are able to write the statement like this one. Okay, so this is going to contain the values, this is going to contain the garbage values, this is going to contain the garbage values. Memory representation, I always told you, suppose there is an array of value 7, integer array of value 7, so this is the memory representation. First like value 1 means first element is available at value 0, that is going to contain 11, and memory address is 8820. Value 1, it is going to contain 22, it is going to contain the address 24. Why it is giving the 4 bytes? Because now this system means for which it has given the representation, or for which it has given this memory representation, that must be a 32-bit machine or 64-bit machine. So that's why the size of integer is of 4 bytes. I told you last time that the size of integer would be 4 times depending upon the type of machine, that what bit of machine is it, that is 32-bit or 64-bit. So for 32-bit or 64-bit, the size of integer is of 4 bytes. Okay, so that's why the difference is of 4 over here. 20 plus 4, 24, 24 plus 4, 28. So this contiguous memory allocation means just after every 4 byte you find a second element, third element, fourth element, fifth element, sixth element, and a seventh element. So there is a difference of 4 among the address of the subsequent neighbors. This is because this array is of integer type, and an integer holds 4 bytes of memory, because machine is of a 64-bit machine or 32-bit machine. So what are the advantages of array in C? There will be the question in the examination. What are the advantages and disadvantages of the array in C language? So using the arrays, we can randomly access the elements using the array index. Means you can access to any element, like in this diagram you can see value 0 is 11, value 122, value 233, value 4, value 5, value 6. So here with the help of array indexing we can access to any element. Means in between we are able to access value 3, in between we can access value 1, value 6, value 5. Even we are able to change the value of value 5. We can delete some number, suppose you want, and all how to delete, how to insert, so that all you can learn here, or again you can learn it in the subject data structure. Okay, so advantage of array is that we can randomly access the elements using the array indexes. Then again, I already told you, use of less line of code, as it creates a single array of multiple elements. Easy access to all the elements using the for loop, we can have access to elements. Traversal through the array becomes easy using a single loop. Means we are going to traverse, like we have make a use of for loop, and using the for loop we are going to rotate, we are going to iterate, or we are going to read the values or fetch the values for the different array indexes, different array elements. Sorting becomes easy, and it can be accomplished by writing less line of code. We can again do the sorting for these values. Already they are sorted, but suppose they are dispersed, they are at random. So that time we can easily do the sorting, we can easily do the searching over the arrays. What are the disadvantages? Disadvantage could be like this one. Already I have given the example. Like 60 students are there, so 30 benches we already accommodated. But now for the second year again we are having a 40 students. For third year again we are having a 40 students. So our 10 benches are going to be wastage. In the same way, disadvantage of C is that allows a fixed number of elements to be entered, which is decided at the time of declaration. Suppose you have made integer a of 10. So it is not forceful, but as you have allocated a memory for the 10 elements, so it should be the case that you have to enter the 10 elements. Otherwise, suppose you are going to, suppose for this integer a of 10, so it is expected that you have to insert 10 elements, but suppose you are going to inserting 5 elements, then another 5 element memory is going to be wasted, like this. So the solution is provided over here. It is better to allocate the memory dynamically. Means we can dynamically allocate the memory for the arrays. So that is the solution for this one. Suppose this is the disadvantage. Then insertion and deletion of elements can be costly, since the elements are needed to be managed in accordance with the new memory allocation. Suppose you want to insert, or suppose you want to delete the element, so that time you have to play with the memory. Okay, so these are the two disadvantages and these are the advantages, and there could be the question in the examination. What are the advantages and disadvantages of array in C? So let's see one example like here what considering the array of 7 elements. So we have to display is it in the reverse order, means like suppose here in this memory representation you can see we are having 11, 22, 33, 44, 55, 66, 77. 7 elements we have to read. So simply we can make a use of a for loop. We can simply make a use of a for loop for I is equals to 0, I less than 7, I plus plus. How we can write? Or we can directly see in the program. I just tell you orally for I equals to 0. Okay, because our index always starts with a 0. I is starting from the 0, it will go up to 7, that is I less than 7 and I plus plus. In brackets scanf ampersand value of I, value of I. So it is going to read the value 7 times like 11, 22, 33, 44, 55, 66, 70. So now we have stored the values. Now what is the objective of the program? You have to display the values in the reverse order, means 77 to 11. That time your for loop should be like this one: for I is equals to 6 or 7 or 6 only, I is greater than or equals to 0, I minus minus. कंडीशन अभी आपकी फॉर की क्या हो जाएंगे, चेंज हो जाएंगे, बिकॉज यू हैव टू स्टार्ट द फॉर, you have to start the for with I starting from 6 because you have to reverse the order. What you have to do, you have to reverse the order. तो reverse किस तरह से करेंगे, जब हम I की वैल्यू 6 लेंगे और कहां तक जाना है, हमको 0 तक जाना है, and we are going to display the values using the printf statement. So same program is given over here. There are 7 numbers stored in an array. The following program prints all the numbers of that array as well as prints the number in the backward, means in the reverse direction. So here integer m of 10, integer j, instead of I, it has taken the j. Store 7 numbers in array, so it has stored the numbers like this one. Or instead of this, you can simply make a use of a for loop. You can simply make a use of a for loop. So for loop, I already told you how you can make a use of a for loop. How you can make a use of a for loop. So for I equals to 0, I less than equals to 6 you can see, or I less than 7, I plus plus, scanf %d ampersand, यहाँ पे m है या val है, m of I, finish. So that is the simple solution, or I can write also here. Suppose you want for so for you can write I equals to I equals to 0, I, or you can take j, suppose the j is there, I less than 7, I plus plus, like this. And after that you can simply make a use of scanf statement, but here they have initialized, so no problem, you can initialize. But suppose you want to make a program user friendly, so in that case you can do it like this one, ampersand m of I, like this. So here how many statements, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. Here only in the 2 statements you are able to read the values for the 7 elements. Okay, and now you have to reverse, so print all the numbers. So you are going to print, so this is it, this is displaying the numbers as usual. This is displaying the number as usual, like 11 22 or whatever the numbers are there, 2 4 6 8 10 12 14. So this is the way to display the numbers. So j equals to 0, j less than 7, like this one, j equals to 0, j less than 7, j plus plus j. m%d means the value of j is 0 initially, so m of 0 is equals to 2. The way it want to display, m of 0 is equals to 2, m of 1 is equals to 4, m of 2 is equals to 6, whatever is there. And you want to display in the backward direction, so that time you have to change this. Your j becomes 7 or 6, then j is greater than or equals to 0 and j plus plus. Like C, for j equals to 6, j greater than equals to 0 and j minus minus. And again the display will be like this one, m%d means m of 6 is equals to the value stored at m of 6 element. So m of 6 is 14, so it is going to display the value for m of 6 as 14. Then m of 5 is equals to 12, because you know that here the indexing is starting from 0. So m of 6 means m of 7, m of 5 means the 6th element, m of 4 means 5th element, like this one. So this is the output you can check out over here. Got this one? I hope you come to know about all about it. Suppose you want to execute and you want to see the output, so we can also execute this program using online JDB software. Now you can see the same output, the given over there. The m of value of m0 is equals to 2, m1 is equals to 4, m2 is equals to 6, m3 equals to 8, 10, 12, 14, and after that in the backward direction from end to beginning. So we have started our j from 6, j is greater than equals to 0, and we are decrementing the value of j. So 14, 12, 10, 8, 6, 4, 2, like this. Okay. So in this way we can do it. Another program is there. What you have to do, you have to find the prime numbers starting from 1 to max number. Now this max number you can define, that should be 50, that should be 100, or that whatever you want. Means you are just giving a range that you have to find the prime numbers in between 1 to max number. Now you can define this max number like this way. This is called as a directive. This is the define, and this is called as a directive. Okay, that we will see later. Suppose it is available in your syllabus. So hash include means we have given the size of mx90 as 50, and in the program we are not going to make a use of 50, but we are writing mx number. Suppose you want to mx number as 100, so simply in this single line you have to write the value like 100. Okay, suppose you want to be 500, so you don't have to make a change in the program as a 500, only you have to write here as a 500. But in the program we are going to write this variable, that is the mx number. Okay, so integer main. So what we have to do, we have to find the prime numbers in between 1 to 50. And what is the case, what is the condition for the prime number? Prime number is divided by 1 as well as the number itself. Suppose whatever the different numbers are there, means from 2 to number less than 8, suppose they are able to divide it, so it is not a prime number. Prime number is only that number which is divisible by 1 or itself, that is a prime number. So you have to find the prime numbers in between 1 to 50, and this 50 is available in which one? Mx number. So for that you can write hash define. This is a directive, keep in mind. This is use of directive. I think this is not available in your syllabus. Use of directive. Okay, so with the help of this simple label you can declare the value 50, integer main. Now we have not given the size here, like in the previous programs we are given the size of int m like 10, 50, 60, but here we have write like mx number, and the value of mx number is 50. So compiler is going to fetch that value from here. Okay, So integer m, mx number. Now you can see the beauty of the C language. Means everywhere we are going to make a use of a mx number. Okay, like this one. And suppose you want the number up to 50. Suppose we are going to make a use of a number 50 over here. So everywhere we have to make that change, like this one. Everywhere we have to make that change. But with the help of this directive, here you can put the value as 100, 150, 200, and all that changes will get reflected everywhere over here. Okay, means mx number will get replaced with 50, 50, 50. Suppose you are going to make 100 over here, so that 100 will reflect it everywhere in the program. 100, 100, 100 means you have to make change only in the single line, and that will reflect it throughout the program with the help of that directive, defined directive. So this is your array, integer m of 50, because the value of mx number is 50. So this is your index I or j, n for the number of elements. So printf the prime numbers are, so for j equals to 0, j less than 50, because it always less than the size of the array. So that's why 50, j plus plus or plus plus j, mj equals to 1. Mj means m0 is equals to 1. What we have done over here, m of 0 is equals to 1. Means what we have to do here, we don't have to read the values, but we have to find values. You have to find the prime numbers in between 1 to 50. How many prime numbers are there in between 1 to 50? So we have, what we have done over here, here m of 0 is equals to 1. Then m of 1 again is equals to 1. Means whatever the numbers are there, means whatever the m of 0, m of 1, m of 2, m of 3, m of 4, all that get filled with the value 1 only. That is the logic. Now again we are starting from j equals to 2. What we are doing for j equals to 2, j less than max number, because अभी हमें क्या करना है, 2 से लेके 49 तक, 2 से लेके 49 तक अगर उसको डिवीजन जाता है तो हम बोलेंगे कि वो प्राइम नंबर नहीं है. सो फॉर दैट वी आर हैविंग दिस लॉजिक. अगर ये नहीं समझता है, इन द लेटर सेशन वो विल सी विद द सिंपल मेथड. तो इफ m ऑफ j मींस इफ m ऑफ 2, अब m ऑफ 2 कितना है हमारा, 1 ही है, क्योंकि हमने क्या किया था इस लूप में, सभी को वैल्यू क्या किया था, 1 1 1 1 असाइन कर दिया था. अभी यहाँ पे इफ m ऑफ 2 की वैल्यू कितनी है, 1 है. इफ 1 printf j, तो j की वैल्यू कितनी आएंगी, 2 आएंगी. j की वैल्यू कितनी आएंगी, 2 आएगी. सो फॉर n is equals to j plus j, n is less than max number, n is equals to n plus j, m of n is equals to 0. You can see the output. Okay, this is another program for copying. Or what we can do, I think this logic is quite critical. We can make the use of very simple logic for writing this program, and we will take in the next session. After that, we will see how to copy the elements from one array to another array. So very simple. Your integer list 1 is of 6 elements, that is having the 6 element 2 4 6 8 10 12, and you are having another array integer list 2 6. So what you have to do, you have to simply copy the array elements from one array to the another array. Means list 1 of 0 you have to copy in list 2 of 0, list 1 of 1 you have to copy in list 2 of 2, like this. Okay, so for this what we can do, or you can simply do like this one, we cannot do like this one, list 2 is equals to list 1. Okay, we cannot do like this one. list 2 में हम list 1 को क्या कर रहे हैं, असाइन कर रहे हैं, तो हम ऐसे array का असाइनिंग नहीं कर सकते. हमें क्या करना पड़ेगा, एक एक एलिमेंट फॉर लूप लगा के उसको क्या करना पड़ेगा, कॉपी करना पड़ेगा. तो इसका सिंपल लॉजिक कैसे बनेगा, फॉर i equals to 0, i less than 6, i plus plus, okay, and list 2 of i is equals to list 1 of i. So you can check out in the program. देखो यहाँ पे list 2, अब यहाँ पे इसने ctr यूज किया, आप i भी यूज कर सकते हो ctr की जगह. ये CTR की जगह हम लोग क्या करते हैं, सिंपली I यूज करते हैं, because our index is represented by I. So list 2 of I is equals to list 1 of I, and program is finished. With the help of this for loop, we are going to simply display the elements of array list 2. माना ये क्या हो रहा है, कॉपी हो रहा है। जैसे यहाँ पे CTR की वैल्यू 0 है तो लिस्ट 1 0 किसमें असाइन हो रहा है, लिस्ट 2 के 0 में। फिर I की वैल्यू 1 हो गई, लिस्ट 1 का फर्स्ट एलिमेंट लिस्ट 2 के फर्स्ट एलिमेंट में कॉपी हो रहा है। फिर CTR की वैल्यू 2 हो गई, लिस्ट 1 का सेकंड एलिमेंट लिस्ट 2 के सेकंड एलिमेंट में जाएगा। फिर CTR की वैल्यू 3 हो गई, लिस्ट 1 का थर्ड एलिमेंट लिस्ट 2 के थर्ड एलिमेंट में कॉपी हो रहा है। सो one by one it will go on, and after copying all the elements again by using the for loop, you can display the elements from the second array. So in this way you are having the output of the second array. Got it? So I hope you understand what is the use of the array. So you can check it out here. Here you are having only one subscript. यहाँ पे कितना सबस्क्रिप्ट था, एक सबस्क्रिप्ट है, ओनली वन स्क्वायर ब्रैकेट इज हियर. सो दिस इज कॉल्ड एज अ वन डायमेंशनल एरे. This is called as a one dimensional array, and for this one dimensional array we can read the values only using the single for loop. This is called as a one dimensional array because it is having a one subscript. But suppose the array is having a two subscripts. Suppose the array is having a two subscript, that is called as a two dimensional array. Suppose the array is having a three subscripts, that is called as a three dimensional array. Suppose it is having a four subscript, that is called as a four dimensional array. Okay, so suppose the array is having a two subscripts, that is called the two dimensional array, or you can also define the two dimensional array as an array of arrays is called as a two dimensional array. Array of arrays is called as a two dimensional array. तो very simple, अगर हमारा वन डायमेंशनल एरे है तो हम एक ही लूप लगाएंगे। अगर हमारे टू डायमेंशनल एरे में अगर हमको डेटा रीड करना है तो हम दो लूप लगाएंगे। अगर हमारे थ्री डायमेंशनल एरे है तो हम तीन लूप लगाएंगे, like this one. So you can check it out, two dimensional arrays. An array of arrays is known as a 2D array. Two dimensional array in C program is also known as a matrix. I hope all of you have learned a matrix. A matrix can be represented as a table of rows and columns. So कितने रहेंगे यहाँ पे, दो रहेंगे, two dimensions रहेंगे. So first dimension is going to represent row and another dimension is going to represent a column. So that is the table of rows and columns. Okay, so that is about the two dimensional arrays. Now these two dimensional arrays we will see just after a break of 5 minutes.